Hello everybody, and welcome to developing your first IoT application. I'm Bassem Boshra. I'm CEO of Spime Sense Labs, and I'm also a member of the IoT Egypt Forum. I'm a steering committee member. I would like to welcome you to this session, which would be hands-on technical session. This is meant for those who would like to learn how to develop their IoT applications. This is very useful for solution architects. It's very useful for application developers, IoT application developers in general, web application developers, business people even who would like to see and learn how these things are, how the IoT applications are being developed. Okay, a quick info about Spime Sense Labs. It is an Egyptian company, a joint stock Egyptian company. Has been created more than 3 years and a half. Over this journey, we have got many rewards. I would say the recent one for those are the ones we got in 2017, specifically the Best Technology Enterprise Award, which has been delivered to us through His Excellency as a Minister of Communication and ICT, with the head of ITIDA, Ms. Asma. Okay, let's jump into the IoT applications. IoT applications are categorized into 5 main categories. We call them the 5 pillars of the IoT applications. Those are home consumer applications, transport and mobility applications, health and body management applications, building infrastructure management applications, and industrial and smart cities applications. On the right side, the smart cities are and industries. This is where most of the money of the IoT applications will come in. On the other side, the consumer home applications would have most of the devices. However, it's not going to be generating most of the money. The health is going to be the least number of devices because of certification process, a very long process for certification, and lots of R&D cost for developing such applications. These applications requires a huge number of people. If we're talking about 50 billion connected devices, then approximately we're talking about 50 million applications. If we say for each 1000 devices only one application would be there, then we're also talking about 250 million software related jobs, assuming that 5 software jobs are needed for every application. If this means anything, it means this is very important, and it is also means there will be lots of money here, and it means we should find a way to make the application development for IoT much simpler and easier for non-programmers to be able to create applications, and for programmers to be able to create much more powerful applications. So it's very important for both sides. Why we are saying non-programmers to learn? Because the number of programmers, the number of software application developers needed would be really huge. So for this type of applications to fly, we have to find ways to make it easier for non-programmers to program that. Okay, let's move on. I asked you to review some of one of my previous sessions as an introductory for this one, specifically the IoT applications impact on our life and business. I'll summarize those in 4 or 5 minutes here. So we have to have some basic information, some basic background. We need to understand that how IoT devices will be communicating data to the IoT applications on the cloud. Meaning understanding the IoT value chain. So let's summarize it here. The IoT value chain starts by devices. Those would be sitting at home devices, or industrial devices like smart meters, for example, or meters in any manufacturer, or even wearable devices that end users will wear to get information from their body. For understanding the IoT value chain, we will compare the mobile world with the IoT world. We understand the IoT world very well, and consumers and end users all understand the mobile world very well. So let's compare it to make sure that we know the details of each. If you're sitting at home and using your mobile phone on a Wi-Fi network at home, then your mobile phone is the device, and the wireless network you are using at home is the Wi-Fi. Data flies from your mobile phone over the Wi-Fi to your wireless gateway at home, which is sometimes called wireless access point, sometimes called wireless router. On the other side of the world, which is the IoT devices would be these ones, exactly like your phone. They should also use a wireless technology, similar to the Wi-Fi you are using in a way or another at home, but it's a different type of technology that gives other facilities to the devices. Those would be LoRa, Zigbee, and Z-Wave. Those are the most famous ones. The most important functionality of those is transferring the data wirelessly from the devices while keeping the device power, the device battery, as low as possible. Okay, then if data flies from devices through the wireless network to the gateway, at your home there is a wireless access point. Here we're talking about IoT gateways. Those are coming from different manufacturers, different gateway providers. When the data reaches your Wi-Fi router or access point at home, it then flies over an ADSL or a fixed internet, sometimes 3G, 4G, to the cloud. And then on the cloud there is an application server collecting the data. Think of WhatsApp, for example. Then if you're sending data from your device, which is mobile phone, you're using WhatsApp to send data from your device to someone else, and the data flies from your device to over the Wi-Fi to your access point, over the fixed internet or 3G to reach WhatsApp, and then WhatsApp decides that this data has to go to someone else. Then it goes in the back direction, searching for the end user, and then it delivers it to the end user in the reverse direction. Similar to this, devices, IoT devices, will send data over a wireless access technology, one of the alternatives, and then data goes through the gateway to reach the internet over a carrier network. This might be fixed 3G or even satellite or Sigfox, the famous Sigfox network operators, now in 34 countries. And then the first thing on the internet that will receive the data is residing on the cloud, which is Master of Things, or another application enablement platform. So an application enablement platform on the cloud is the first interaction point, and then applications would be running on top of these platforms to decide what would happen to the data received from the devices. What these applications will decide depending on the type of the application. Application enablement platforms, as said, is the most important starting point on the cloud. So if we will summarize here, we need to find a way to get a device today, to send data from a device, and then use a wireless technology to carry data to the cloud to interact with an application enablement platform. Three main components: devices, wireless technology, and application enablement platform, where our application will be resident. That's what we will develop today, an application running on top of an application enablement platform. Okay, so let's go a little bit of details. If we will pick up a device, what we should do, if we were developing an IoT application from scratch, we need to find a prototyping board. It's a prototyping hardware or a way to prototype our device. After we develop our prototype using one of the prototyping boards or prototyping tools, and see that okay, this is fine, this is nice, this is okay, then we throw this out and then we start developing the real IoT device. This requires one of the real-time operating systems. Just an example, Contiki, FreeRTOS, Ripe, Tiny, there are many of those. And those companies who develop these embedded devices usually turns to be a production device. Then the production device, as an example of companies producing IoT devices today, I would say Libilium, Eurotech, Telecom, and Yanzi. Okay, so people has to start with a prototyping board. Then there is the wireless technology. We briefly mentioned Zigbee and Z-Wave and LoRa, but there are really many alternatives. We will skip that for now. Then the gateway providers, I said, those are the most famous ones. Cisco, I would say, is the most appreciated here in the world of gateways, at least for now. Then carrier networks, alternative carrier networks. This could be GPRS 3G, 4G, or alternatively a Sigfox network, a satellite network, or someone else playing the role of a carrier network. We have talked, I would say, in the previous session a lot about those, so we will skip this one. Then the application enablement platforms will receive the data. There are various alternatives here. We will have a dedicated session how to select the proper application enablement platform, but for today we're going to use Master of Things because it's easy and quick to learn and still very powerful for you to develop applications. We will dedicate a session for what you should expect from an application enablement platform, the main functionalities, what should be there, and how to pick up the right one. After that, if the application is running for many years and you have developed it and it's working properly, then it's collecting a lot of data over years, then you need to make use of those collected data where analytics and big data becomes important. So those are other platforms that will analyze historical data to bring you much more value from these data that has been collected over many years. Okay, the last I would say important item in the value chain is the device and remote gateway management. These are also a different type of platforms. They are meant to be used to configure, remotely configure the devices, remotely configure the gateways. We also talked a little bit about that in the value chain, and someone will provide the end-to-end solution. Those are usually referred to as system integrators, system integration companies. So if we're going to develop today an IoT application, then we're going to pass through many of those. We will go through this step quickly and then think of those as the three components here as the wireless technology being used and an application development platforms. We will develop the application now and keep it running. Later, after 3 years, we'll have to come here to analyze the collected data or come to the device and remote gateway configuration. We will touch base on that as well. Okay, then let's start with prototyping boards. What are the available prototyping boards? There are many alternatives for hardware prototyping boards. Those usually are a very small, tiny computer, like what we're seeing here. It has a CPU, memory, input-output, interfaces, sometimes running real-time operating systems as well. And this would be constructing the prototype of your device. Unfortunately, these prototyping boards that we're putting here are complex to learn. It takes days from expert hardware guys, maybe weeks from computer science people. uh, I would say months from non-computer tech guys. Uh, for it's clearly that we will not going to use any of those today. I would say the best alternative is a soft prototyping board. Uh, Unfortunately, whenever you're going to use one of those, you're just putting the prototype of your device. And if you go into this with the hardware prototyping boards, you will keep thinking of the device as the whole IoT application, which is not. As mentioned in this slide, this is only the starting point, building your prototype. If you start with one of those complex prototyping boards, you will keep thinking here, and maybe you will end up here. This is an embedded systems world. It's not the IoT world. The IoT world is the whole seven components here. So don't put yourself in this, I would say, corner. Don't corner yourself in the device world. Think of the device as the starting point. You have to have the right device, but don't live inside the device. The world is much bigger. Okay, then which prototyping board we're going to use? We're going to use a soft prototyping board that will turn your mobile phone into a prototyping board. Your smartphone already has many sensors. It has memory in it. It has an operating system. It's a very powerful device. So we will use today Master of Things IoT Kit. You can find this on the Play Store. So please start downloading Master of Things IoT Kit. Search for it on the Play Store. Use Master of Things as one word, space IoT space kit. This board will give you an accelerometer that's available in every smartphone. You will have a sensor with a signal strength. You also have GPS location. Most of the phones also has a light intensity sensor. All of the smartphones has a touch screen with a sensor that will sense where did you touch your screen, in which X and Y location. It also includes a pedometer that will count your steps. Most of the smartphones, I would say all of them, have a camera. So you have a scanner here as well that can scan barcodes, QR codes, and convert them to numbers. So these are the basic sensors available in every smartphone. So if you go and use Master of Things IoT Kit, you're actually using your phone as an IoT prototyping board. Let's understand more of the applications. When you run the application, you can see that some of the devices, like the accelerometer sensor, for example, has a check mark beside it. Then if this is green check mark, then it means you have configured the IoT kit to collect data from your accelerometer in your phone and send it back to the application enablement platform. And this will use a Wi-Fi or a 3G network available. So these are the wireless technologies that we will use today: Wi-Fi, GPRS, 3G, 4G. If you have this mark beside one of the sensors in the board, this means you have configured it not to collect the data, not to send it to the platform, not to send it to outside of the device. So make sure if you're going to use the accelerometer today, and we're going to use it a lot, that we configure it to be active and sending data to the platforms. How we will do that? We will go through the settings menu in few minutes to configure this together. Okay, this is the first tool. We said you need to have a prototyping board. That's our prototyping board for today. And we're going to use the wireless technology, as said, Wi-Fi, GPRS 3G. Then we need a platform. Okay, which platform we're going to use? This is the second tool we're going to use today. So we're going to use Master of Things platform, mainly because it's very easy to use. So go and register yourself an account on dev.masteroftthings.com. Master of Things comes with a visual development environment. This is the one we're seeing here. It's very simple to use. That's why we selected it for the session today. So, okay, it's still very simple, but also still very powerful to develop very powerful applications. This is only one component of the platform. Platforms usually should have four main components. I would say the most important ones for the developers is the development environment. So go and register yourself an account on dev.masteroftthings.com. Once you register, please go and log in and follow my steps here. So I'll now move to my browser and access the development environment. Before I do this, let's have a quick look on what we have here. When you log in to the development environment for Master of Things, you will get on your left side plugins. Those are draggable components that you can drag to your page area here to construct your page, to build your page. So you can put buttons, charts, maybe timers, data tables to show data for your end users, drop down lists, visualize your data from your devices on a map, put a blog in the page for people to interact on the data received from your devices, visualize the data maybe on digital meter or an analog meter. The most important two plugins here are a timer plugin that will execute something on the page every few seconds or minutes, up to whatever you decide, and the web service plugin. This one can send the data to the outside world, to also another systems, maybe CRM systems, maybe billing systems, provisioning platforms, whatsoever. So this one is very important. Okay, what else we have here? Your application will be actually constructed of many pages like this one. So your end application will have maybe a page for users to register, a page for visualizing the data, and a page for putting help for people. The actual application will end up with many pages. So the tool that you will use to create the applications pages, the better your applications will end up. You will have to build many applications, and every application will have many pages. So if you use a simple tool to create your application, that will make your life much easier. The last and most important component we see here is the properties of the plugin. So if, for example, you selected a chart and you dragged your chart into the page here, you need to tell this chart where will the data come from. You need also to tell the chart its size, the colors represented in the chart, but the most important property is the data source. Where the data will come from to this chart. Okay, so here you will get a list of devices, and then you point out to the device that you'd like to visualize its data. Now let's move to the browser and see how this will work out. Okay, this is dev.masteroftthings.com, and the first page you get is username and password if you have already registered. I have registered a special account for this session. Let me put my password here, and then we log in. Okay, I missed the password, so let's take it again. Okay, now I'm logged in and the IDE is being loaded. So this is the visual development of Master of Things. As we said, the four components are available here. So first thing I should do is create a new project and start building pages. Or for the sake of this session, we have created a special project for you. We called it uh, IoT Hello World. So if you search here or write your project name, if you have many projects you can search, but obviously if this is your first time to register, you will find only one project. We have created this for you. So go and open this one. And once you load this project, you find 3 different pages on the project. We also have created these pages for you to start. So the first thing I would ask you to do is right click on the project name and then select Save As, mainly to save another copy of this project for you to play with it, and leave the original copy as it is so you can go back to it whenever you would like to go back to the original code. So Save As will ask you for a new name of the project. I'll make it my underscore IoT Hello World, and then say save. Okay, so the project now is being saved with this new name. So this is a new project, my IoT Hello World. If you try it again to open the projects, you will find now you have 2 projects. So we will keep using my IoT Hello World. So either to open it again or just close this one and make sure this is your my IoT Hello World. Okay, let's look at the pages we have here. We have created for you 3 pages. One that we will use to control your devices remotely, to control your IoT kit, your Master of Things IoT kit on your phone. And one will use the accelerometer from your phone. Another one will also use accelerometer from your phone. These are learning applications. It's not real applications. I mean, when I'm saying it's not real, I'm saying it's not the actual applications that you will give to your end users. You're not going to create games, even that there will be IoT games, but your intention is not to develop a game. So today we're using those as just examples. Okay, so let's start with the bottle rotate. What we need to do with this application, we need to create a page, a web page that will show a bottle of water to the end users, and we will allow the end user to control this bottle of water, to rotate it, to move it using the end user phone. That's what we will do today. So to build this image, you have to drag an image plugin here. And then when you drag it, you will see that the properties here, there is an image URL. So search for Google and pick up Google Images and pick up the right image URL for the image you want and change it here. So we picked a bottle of water image. So it becomes a bottle of water. And then we want to tell users how to play with this application, how to use this application. So we drag a label. Okay, this is the label plugin. We drag it here, and once you drag it, you will find that there is one of the properties of this plugin. So click on the plugin and see its plugin properties. This is saying label plugin properties, and then one of the properties would be what is displayed on top of this label. Okay, so the caption property. So type something here. So we type, for this example, do 1 2 3 4. Okay, so that's what would appear here. Okay, what else we need to do for this application? We need to monitor the end user accelerometer, the accelerometer in the end user phone, and based on the rotation of the phone that we will detect from the accelerometer, we will move this bottle of water. Then how to tell the application environment here, how to tell Master of Things that you would like to look at the specific information from the accelerometer sensor. you go for the tools and then go for the sensor manager. So click on the tools menu and then select the sensor manager. Once the sensor manager management interface opens, you will find a list of existing tools, a list of existing sensors that we have defined for you. So we have defined for you a group of sensors here that all are available in the IoT kit. This is the list that you will see. We have predefined it for you. So please start copying the accelerometer sensor. So on the accelerometer sensor, click copy. And here you will get lots of information about the accelerometer sensor. So this is a template that we are copying. So we're copying from the accelerometer template the information. We will notice that the sensor readings sent from the accelerometer are XYZ acceleration and other readings. You can change this to make it with your name. So put your name here as an identifier. Also the sensor code, you can change this to something that would identify your device among other devices. So maybe your mobile number, maybe your name, or any set of codes that you expect. I would say IoT session code, and for this one I will make it IoT session accelerometer. Okay, leave everything as the default. We will talk about this later. So leave all the settings as default and say next step. It tells you, okay, you have not changed any readings or added any readings to this device, which is fine. Next step. So leave everything here as default as well. Next step, and then it will ask you for how much you expect the accelerometer values would be sent. So leave it also as a default and then say copy sensors. On this screen, this is a very important one. Please notice the sensor ID. This is the ID of your device. This is how Master of Things platform will identify this device we just have created. We will take this number and configure it in the IoT kit on the mobile phone. So now we're going to switch back to the Master of Things IoT kit and use this number to tell the kit that this is your device ID as defined on Master of Things. So let's go for the slides again and then see how we were going to do that. Okay, now if you open your Master of Things IoT kit on your phone, I assume now you have already downloaded it from the Google Play Store and you have entered a mobile number or a string identifying your identity as the ID of this IoT kit. Once you install it and you start it, it will ask you to register and ask you for an identification. This can be a mobile number, it can be a username unique for you, anything that you believe would be unique for your own device. Mobile number would be the best fit. Okay, so once you open it, the main screen, you will notice here it has a listing of all the sensors available for the kit. These sensors will depend on your phone. So if your phone has a camera, then you can use the camera. If this is a smartphone, it has a camera and it has an accelerometer for sure. Some of the phones will have temperature sensors, some of the phones will have pressure sensors. So depending on your phone, but the list that we're showing here are the ones available on all the smartphones. Okay, so for the IoT kit of this version that's available now on the Play Store, it will give you access to the accelerometer, to the battery, to signal strength and others. The most important thing you should notice here in the main screen, that it tells you that, okay, we're connected to the MQTT broker. A broker is a functionality of the platform that will allow your device to send and receive data over MQTT application protocol. We will talk about this in details in later sessions. But for now, make sure it is connected. This means your device is able to send and receive data over MQTT broker. Think of it like the mail server. MQTT is a server that is residing to allow devices to send data to each other. So this device, which is IoT kit, will be sending and receiving data over MQTT broker. As I said, consider it just an email server. Think of it like that for now. Okay? So make sure it is connected and then click on the settings. Once you click on the settings, you get this screen. If you scroll up and down, you will notice here the number you have put as your registration, your mobile number, or your unique username. This can be even an email, whatever, something that would be unique for your own device here. And then make sure you click on the physical sensors. Once you click on the physical sensors, you get the details of the sensors here. So you have a drop-down list of all the sensors available supported by this kit. So click on the accelerometer, select the accelerometer, then click on send readings. This is you're activating the sensor to send the data to the outside world. And after that, put a sensor ID here. What is the ID? This is the ID we have got from Master of Things when we copied the accelerometer sensor. Remember that I told you the ID is very important. So put this ID here. Okay, let's go for the browser and see what was the ID. This is the sensor ID. So we take it and put it here after we activate the sending reading. Once you activate this will be active. Put a number here, and then you will find other settings like sending reading every duration, and the duration here is in milliseconds. So make it 5,000 milliseconds. This means it is every 5 seconds send the value of the accelerometer to the server. Leave the rest of the configurations as per the default and scroll down and select save. Don't forget to say save, otherwise the changes you have done here are not saved. Okay, now your device should be connected to the internet over your Wi-Fi or 3G. Make sure that the connection is working, your wireless connection is working. And now you have configured it to send the data to a specific sensor. Let's go back to the browser and see what we will do on Master of Things there. Okay, so now we are in the browser window. You opened the sensor management interface and you got this sensor and you configured it in your IoT kit. Let's go back to Master of Things, Visual Development Environment. In the Visual Development Environment here, you need to tell it, okay, check my accelerometer in my device, which is the IoT kit on your phone, every period of time, and get the value, and upon this value start rotating this bottle. How we will do that? We need to take a timer and put it in the page and tell this timer to check the data coming from the accelerometer sensor every period of time. So we have done this for you already. So if you click on the page plugins, you will notice that there is a label plugin. That's where we put the text to illustrate how this example will work. And there is also a bottle plugin, which is the image. We changed its name from an image plugin to a bottle, so you can do that as well. You will find it's already named like that. We have did this for you. Again, for the plugin list, you will notice that there is an accelerometer timer here. So if you click on this one, you will not be able to see it here, but you will see its properties on this right side hand here, because we have made it hidden. So one of the properties is to make it visible or invisible. The default is visible, and for sure you don't want your end users to see this timer plugin, so make it invisible. And the rest of the properties, this is the duration in milliseconds. So this timer will work every 100 milliseconds, meaning it will work in 10 times per second. And this is recurrence, so it will keep doing that forever. And it is active, so it is working now. So okay, leave these properties as we did it for you. I just explained it to make sure that you know what does it mean. The most important here, when you click on a plugin and select it, is to go and check what would happen with this plugin. So there is a list of events here. If this is a button, there is a click, there is a double click. If it's a label, the same. All the plugins have click, double click, mouse over, but specifically for the timer plugin, it has a timer tick, and this is the most important event that we would like to write our code here. So we have written this code for you. It is 36 lines of code. The first line here, it tells which sensor we are talking about. So again, the same sensor ID we got here should be in your IoT kit and should be here in the first line of the timer. So change that to your device ID now. Okay, I'll put mine that I just created now. Okay, I'll use this number. So it was 2536, and I'll make sure it is in my IoT kit. So I go for my IoT kit settings, like what we have here. I'll go for the settings. I'll scroll down to the physical sensors and then activate the accelerometer and put the same number, 2000. Okay, 2536, 2536. I put it in my kit, 2536. Okay, I'll just say save. In my IoT kit. Okay, now it tells me it is saved. Then I'll go back again to the home page. So now I have this screen active on my mobile phone. I'll go back to the browser, to the development environment, just make sure that the number is there, and now I say save. Okay, so I save my application, and now my application will check for this sensor, for the accelerometer timer, every 100 milliseconds, so 10 times per second. And what would happen after that? It will actually call this function, which is move bottle. This is a JavaScript function. You can write a standard JavaScript here. This is a standard JavaScript. So the move bottle will take the accelerometer value, take the X, Y, Z reading from the accelerometer, and the accelerometer is actually sending the acceleration force exerted on my mobile phone. So it takes the acceleration X, Y, Z direction. And this formula converts the value of X, Y, Z acceleration to polar coordinates, which is a rotation of 360 degrees, to be able to rotate the plugin called bottle. Okay, and will also display the value of the accelerometer, the angle calculated in a label plugin, which is hidden for you for debugging purposes if you'd like to look at this. So what would happen if I say save? So my project is saved. If I run this page now, I would assume and expect the page keeps monitoring my accelerometer on my mobile phone, and whenever the accelerometer value on my mobile phone changes, it keeps sending the data. So whenever I move my device, which is my phone now, running the IoT kit, I will notice that the bottle is moving and following my rotations. Okay, let me keep playing a little bit here, and please do this as well. So, and please notice that your device is sending one accelerometer reading every 5 seconds. This means the page, even that the page will detect the movements every 100 milliseconds, but your device is actually sending it once every 5 seconds. So, okay, you will notice some delay. The delay is coming from two sources. One source is the 5 seconds configuration, and the other the delay is coming from the network itself. So if your wireless network is slow, or if your internet connection to your browser on your laptop here is slow, then you will notice that the bottle is moving, it is rotating, but it is just following what you have done with your mobile phone. So move your phone slowly to be able to see the changes. Again, if there is a delay, it's coming from your wireless network or coming from your internet connection. Okay, now I'll stop my device and I'll go back to the application to illustrate it for you. I'll close this window just to make sure that you understand it well. Okay, what do we have in our page? A label. Okay, that's the label plugin, an image plugin, and then we selected the URL for the bottle. And the most important plugin we have used here is the timer plugin. We have moved it from here, dragged it to the page, and then we made it visible or invisible. Okay, now I'm controlling the visible and invisible of the image plugin. But to go for the accelerometer, because it is invisible, you get it from the plugins list in the page. So here you will have the accelerometer timer. If you make it visible, you will be able to see it. You don't want your end users to see that, so you will hide it and make it invisible. And the most important is the code, the JavaScript code that will be executed by this timer. So if you click on this, you will notice the code starts with a sensor ID, that is the ID of your device. And in this example, we have copied this sensor from another sensor that has been defined for you previously in the sensor management interface. And once you do this, if I click home again, here in the sensor management interface, you will get a list of your devices. I copied one of those and I called it IoT Session Accelerometer. So this is the sensor I have created, and it has this number as an ID for the identifier for this sensor on the platform, because the platform is handling many devices, thousands of devices. So this is the device we just created. We will use this number in the application page here, and then the application page will do a get latest value of a sensor. So this function is a built-in function in the platform. You ask the platform to get me the latest value of this sensor, which is the sensor that we have used in our IoT kit device on our phone, the same device. So you ask it for latest value of this. Okay, this is an accelerometer, so the value comes in and it is being passed to a callback function called moveBottle. For those guys who know JavaScript programming, they will understand what's a callback function. It's actually a function that will be called after the value comes in. So you say get latest value of a sensor, and when you get the value, pass it to the moveBottle function. Okay, so the moveBottle function is defined below here in this line, and the function in this few number of lines tells, okay, you got the accelerometer value here, take XYZ from it. If it is new, take it, because the capture time of the data coming from the device is very important. We said that there's a delay that will happen in the network because networks are not fast as we think. Data will be traveling from your device over the internet, will take many routes, and then some packets will arrive before others. Network guys will understand that. So you need to check the capture time. If it's a new data, then the recent value, take it and calculate the rotation angle of the phone. Once you figured out the rotation angle of the phone, rotate the bottle plugin with the rotation angle by changing the value of the rotate angle property of that plugin. Exactly as if you do this by hand. If you go here, you will find that there is a rotation angle property here. Where is that? Rotate. Yeah, this one. If you change it to 45, for example, you will notice that the image plugin is rotated by 45 degrees. So if you make it 60, then it will change like, okay, so we want to change this to the value of the angle of your phone based on the accelerometer of your phone. This is why in the accelerometer timer code here, once it calculates the angle, it sets the plugin parameter value for the bottle plugin. It changes the rotate image property to the calculated rotation angle, and then it tells the platform, okay, redraw this image plugin again with this value. So that's what happens automatically every 100 milliseconds according to the timer configurations that we have here. Okay, if you go for the timer, accelerometer timer, you will notice that we made it 100 milliseconds. So this page, when we run it, it keeps monitoring your accelerometer timer and keeps it changing the rotation angle of the image plugin, the bottle image plugin, according to the rotation angle of your phone. Now we have finished our session. Hopefully you understand it now. Hopefully it is clear for you. Keep playing with the accelerometer. From the accelerometer you can do an application page that monitors your baby in the bed. So you can leave a phone in the, for example, you can leave a phone in the baby bed, and where every movement in the bed, if the baby moves the bed with any small movement, you get your accelerometer moving. You can also use the accelerometer to monitor vibrations in a bridge, for example, or put the accelerometer in a table in your home. If someone passes by the table or put something on the table, your accelerometer will vibrate. Any small vibration will be taken and sent to the platform, and then you can see that your table has been touched or moved. This can be very useful for many applications. The number of applications for the accelerometer are tremendous. You can think of many just jumping in my head now. Maybe if there is an accelerometer in your car, you can monitor the car stability. You can monitor some of the spare parts by monitoring the vibrations happening in the car. just one sensor from your IoT kit, which is the accelerometer. You can use it to build many applications. Imagine what would happen if this IoT kit supports 20 sensors in your phone. Depending on your phone, you can have your IoT kit to do marvelous things. Thanks for your time. I would say now there's time for questions and answers. I see some questions coming in to me. The question is about security. What about security of this application? Okay, what we have just built now is a very basic application. It's meant for learning purposes. Security is very, very important. You will notice in the platform here, when we copied the sensors, there has been what is called driver ID, and this driver ID has to be defined for you by your administrator. It has a driver ID and password. For the IoT kit, for this learning purposes, we made it simple and straightforward, one driver ID. That's not the case in the real world. In the real world, there is a driver ID and password for every device. Also, data is sent from the device to the platform encrypted with AES 128 encryption protocol. That's a fast, quick encryption protocol. It is a synchronous one. The best about it is being quick to transform the data, and it's very quick to calculate the encryption key here because devices are usually limited devices. One other factor is about the IoT kit itself. Even that it's meant to be a prototyping board, but you still also have in the configuration if you would allow a remote configuration or not. Before I leave the session, I just remember that I didn't tell you more about the IoT kit control page. This page actually controls your IoT kit if you allowed remote configuration for your device. So if you run this page, because I promised you to touch base on the remote configuration, this page, if you used your phone identifier number here, this as I said before, this can be your phone number, can be your email address, whatever you have used in the registration of your IoT kit when you installed it. And then you can say, okay, turn the flash on and press publish. Then the platform will tell you, okay, I published this command of turning the flash on using MQTT protocol to reach your device, and you should see your device flash turned on if you have the right identifier here. You can also control the brightness, you can control the vibration, you can make your device play sounds by sending the right command here. Okay, let's move on to some questions again. One question is this IoT kit free for use outside this learning session? Yes, it is. The same as the platform as well. You can use your registered account here for the platform for free forever, as long as this is for your personal use. It also has a limitation that it would be only one developer working per account. So if you're a corporate organization and you want to share the same project among many developers, you have to get your dedicated corporate account here. But your personal account is free for use for lifetime. What else? There is a limitation here also if you go for the data source property of any plugin. If this is a chart, for example, you will notice that you see all devices from all users available on this free trial accounts. In the real situation, you can only see your devices and nobody else can have access to your devices. Even that the devices names are listed here, other devices from other people, but you cannot really get the device data. We're just showing the device name to let the people know that you have a device registered here and it is working, but they cannot get their data. Again, we're trying to push you to get your dedicated account, but your personal account is totally yours. Nobody else can see the data from your device. Nobody else can see the data from your project. Your project is only limited for one developer, but as many end users as you like. All end users have to register also and get an account. Okay, thank you. That is the end of the session. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you need if you have any question or anything else, please come back to us on info@spimesenselabs.com or directly on the page spimesenselabs.com. You can still post questions to the Egypt IoT forum. Being a committee member there, I'm always welcoming questions from other members in the forum. So you're always welcome, and thank you.